Hi, I'm Deidre, and welcome to Healed and Whole, Hope for the Grieving Widow. There's a kind of silence that just doesn't fill a room. It fills your heart. The kind of silence that comes after everyone's gone home, after the phone stops ringing, and you're just left sitting in a house that seems entirely too big. I remember the first night after my husband's funeral. I sat on the edge of the bed and I listened to nothing but the sound of my own breathing. It was the same room, the same walls, but everything was different. The silence was almost loud, like it was echoing all the words I'd never get to say again. In those moments, the grief doesn't just speak through tears, it just sits beside you. And at that moment, grief was sitting beside me. But this is what I learned in that silence, was that God was with me. He was not absent. He was still whispering in the stillness, not with answers, but just with his presence. Psalms 34:18 says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." The Lord is close to the brokenhearted. Not far, but close. So that means even when your prayers feel like they're going nowhere, he's right there. Even when your heart hurts, God is right there. Sometimes healing doesn't start with words. Sometimes healing starts just sitting still long enough to notice that you're not alone in the silence. I remember one morning I was making coffee and I made 2 cups of coffee. Now, my husband wasn't a coffee drinker, but sometimes he would sit with me and have a cup of coffee. Once I did that, I laughed and then I just broke out in tears. Going through the cycle of grief, there's times of sadness, there's times of anger, there's times that you have fond memories and you can laugh at something funny that happened. There's times where you feel guilty. And in that particular moment, something shifted. Something shifted in my sadness. I sat by the window with that second cup still there. And for the first time, I said out loud, "I miss my husband. God, I miss my husband." In that same breath, I said, "God, I thank you for being here with me." Ah, I remember that moment. I remember that moment. And after I thanked God for being there with me, I felt a peace. So if you're walking through that silence right now, try this. First of all, don't rush it. Just sit. Don't fight the quiet. If you have to, light a candle. If you have to, whisper your husband's name. Then whisper Jesus' name right after. And let Jesus and your husband fill that space. Feel the presence of love that only comes from God. Another thing you could do is write down one small thing that you're grateful for since your husband has passed. It might seem a little challenging right now because all we can think about is what we lost. But stop to think about, what am I grateful for? One of the things I wrote down was I was grateful that he wasn't suffering anymore. I was grateful that I know he made it to heaven's door. It was hard, but each day I found something to be grateful for in that silence. So friend, my dear friend, you are not alone. I know exactly how you're feeling, but the silence won't always be so heavy. Over time, That silence will be almost sacred. It'll be a sacred space for memories. It'll be a sacred space just to sit and reflect. So even today, if you don't find the right words to pray, just ask the Lord, Lord, just stay close to me. Because his word says that he is close to those that are brokenhearted. And remember, he's already there. You're just welcoming him in. So until next time, remember, you can be widowed, but not broken. You can be widowed, but not even alone. God is with us. He's still writing beauty out of our brokenness. Thank you for sharing this time with me. I'm continuing to pray for each and every one of you who get on this video in your time of grief, in your time of loss. Know that there's light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you for joining me today. Stay tuned for episode 2 next week. God bless you.